because the famous saying says that the grass is always greener on the other side. Most of the entrepreneurs keep on asking me this question, this business doesn't look all that great. Can I switch over to the other business? See, every single business, it's got its own time to grow, and there are different stages in growing. You have this early startup stage, and then you get into a little bit of learning stage, then you get into the maturity stage, then again it got probably get into saturation stage and things like that. I would like to give you a few examples, and then I just leave it to yourselves to probably look at how long will it take to really build a business and to take to the next level. I'll give you a couple of examples. Now, the first example, my favorite example, is something like this. You all know about Walmart. The Walmart is a mega hypermarket in the US. It's very famous across the globe. They have close to about 7,000 plus outlets. I think the recent survey says about 9,500 to 10,000 outlets. Now, each outlet of this Walmart is very, very huge in terms of the size, in terms of the stockyard, and people very humorously say that the number of trolleys in the Walmart hypermarket is much higher than any given airport in the US. So now, if you look at the example of this Walmart, it started by Sam Walton, you all know, and it almost took about 7 years for him to establish the first outlet. And the next 25 years, he had opened about 32 outlets. And on the 26th year, he started 1,000 outlets. I repeat, first outlet, it took almost 7 years. The next 25 years, he opened 32 outlets. And on the 26th year, he had opened about 1,000 plus outlets. So now the question here is, it probably kind of grown to different level altogether, from the starting graph. So if you look at the graph, it starts from 0, x-axis, y-axis, and then slowly it will start growing, and slowly it grow, and one point of time, then it slightly started growing a little more higher, and at one point of time, that's a point where it actually, from that particular point, it goes much higher. Technically speaking, they call it as the hockey stick growth, and that's what you see here in this example. Now let's look at some of the other local examples as well. So if you look at this very famous sweet shop in Coimbatore, it's called Sri Krishna Sweets, and this particular outlet was started by the founder somewhere during the 1947. He started off with a small restaurant, and during the early 70s he opens up a small sweet shop in Araspuram area in Coimbatore. And then almost towards, little later part only, they got into this Mysore pak in a little more softer concept like what we eat today. Now, if you really look at or recall those days in the 70s and 80s, this Mysore pak is something which is it used to be very, very hard, and people used to break it with so much of difficulty. And all those dentists very humorously say that if you eat a Mysore pak, it is actually a passport to the dentist. So now, one concept of making that Mysore pak a little more softer, and then you see the kind of transformation happen, and everybody start liking it, and that's when the growth really happened. So from 1946, a restaurant, and then towards the early 70s, a retail sweet shop, and then from there, it really took it to a different level altogether. Now let's also look at another interesting example, and this particular example, all of us know this famous example of Apple. Apple company, which was started by Steve Jobs in 1976, and then it also it got into various challenges. I'm sure all of you know about this wonderful story of Steve Jobs. How did he really built this organization, and he had to go in between. People were asking him to go out, and again the whole board had invited him back, and then he came back and revived, and all those stories I'm sure you must be knowing. But the question here is, in the early 1976, they were actually into building up the Macintosh computers and all other things related to that. And during the year, somewhere during 2001, that's when they launched this iPod. Everybody, like common man like you and me, started knowing about Apple at that point of time. And from 2001, 2002 to 2003, they sold about 100 million iPods. In Indian term, close to about 10 crores of iPods, and that kind of took this company to a different level altogether. But look at the number of years I'm talking about here, from 1976 to 2001. So that's a huge time, right? So every single business actually goes through these stages. You can't definitely start a business and expect miracle to happen in 1 year. So my dear friends, I would request all of you who are in this business to stay put and keep working. It's not like an overnight success any given point of time. You need to really work towards it and you need to really earn it to take your business to the next level. If you are building up a business, going through that particular stages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over a period of 10 years, 15 years is what typically takes an organization to really get built. And if you stop in between and go back again, you are again going to start from the x-axis, y-axis, 0 stage only. So this is something that I want to let you know that it's always, if you look at the business from the other side, it looks rosy, but it doesn't necessarily be the real secret behind that particular organization to grow. The only request all of you to do is to stay put in your business, do all the hard work, look at something differently in your business, come up with some interesting area, and then stay put. At one point of time, you really grow to a level where you can reach up the hockey stick growth and you can take your business to the next level. Bye.